I'm Ben Coleman, one of your hosts for Florida Aviation Network. And we're here today at the 44th Annual Sun and Fun International Convention and Fly-In, coming to you in the dry environment of the Florida Air Museum at the Aerospace Discovery for Excellence. And it's right across the street from the Central Florida Aerospace Academy. A lot of things happening here at the Sun and Fun complex, and it's just a wonderful period of time to be in aviation and to be in the world. And one of the gentlemen that's worldly that's going to join me, we're going to just talk about a few things that I know you'll find interesting, because he's an interesting guy. Bob Raskey. Bob, that's you. Welcome.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
He was so intrigued with the intro that, who is that? That's me. Bob Raskey. Bob is here to help us with the General Aviation Awards program. Made a presentation, I guess, this morning. And he is a line pilot right now. I'm just going to say pilot because he's so many other things for United Airlines. And you're flying today to South America.
Yeah, New York today, and then South America tomorrow.
Good. And Bob, you are also involved with many things in aviation. The most important thing that we have on the cusp right now is the bringing the young people into the industry and giving them the proper skills, the mindset, and the foundation to make them contributors to this industry in years to come. Because as we look around at usually these events, there's a lot of folks with graying and lack of hair, larger in girth and longer in tooth.
Sure.
So you have so much impact going on. Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, you're AOPA, you're on one of their many boards. But Bob, what drives Bob Raskey to get up and make all this happen? What drives Bob?
Well, I mean, I'll start just with an event 2 weeks ago with my daughter. Just passed her private pilot check ride in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Congratulations.
So that was a big event for me as a father, and watching her come up and embrace aviation as a passion. I actually flew out there a couple weeks ago and worked with her, flew with her, and she was all excited, did very well. Examiner said she's great, but she just graduated college. She's in the National Guard in Salt Lake City.
I heard about that.
So that's a great opportunity for folks out there in general, like if you're considering flying and how to fund it and pay for it, right out of high school, joining a National Guard or a reserve unit is a great way to go through college, fully funded pretty much for the college education, and a big chunk of flight training could be paid for by the VA GI Bill, which is good, which she took advantage of. And so seeing her do that and then passing her check ride, now she's trying to commandeer KC-135 guard slot in the unit, where if that's successful, then she can go off to pilot training and fly. So here's an example. That's my own children, but in the years growing up, working with a lot of folks, children from all generations, from different avenues and walks of life, and they have a passion to fly, it's always nice to help out with the guidance to saying, here's different ways you can do that. If you're concerned about money, I have an answer. If you're concerned about where to go, many answers throughout the country. So the opportunities there, and the world will embrace you for that. So it's an intrinsic feedback, I guess, when you see people succeed, and in the career field that I am and you are, help guide that way and see that pathway to fruition, because frankly, we need pilots and mechanics and anything aviation rated for the next 10 to 20 years easily.
Oh yeah. There's been a lot of talk and discussion about the pilot shortage, the mechanic shortage. It's not coming. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's here. And because it takes years, literally years, to turn a person who has an interest in aviation maintenance into a producing, fruitful mechanic.
Sure.
Piloting. I'm not going to say it's a quicker path, but 6 months to a year, you can have the basic rudiments, the foundation, to be a contributor. I mean, have at least 250 hours and get a commercial pilot's license. Make a living flying airplanes. So, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it concerns me when I hear about folks that say, all I want to do is get my commercial rating and I'll be set. No, you're always learning more in aviation, and it's been so good and bad to us. I mean, there's been some horrible things that happened here recently, but we learn from every one of those horrible events. But for every one horrible event, there's thousands, if not millions, of good positive events that happen.
Sure.
So we're going to dwell on the positive, and we're going to learn how to do this thing right. We're going to find the right individuals, and just because somebody says I don't have the right makeup, I don't have the right stuff. Well, if you start out that way, then you don't. You got to want to, and the passion, the drive. Tell me a little bit about what you guys and some of your philanthropic opportunities are out there. Both Riddle, I mean, they're high end, but they've got to be fed from somewhere. How do you guys go about getting fresh start pilots, fresh start mechanics?
Well, for the most part, the need for pilots and mechanics is huge. Over the next 10 years, a decade, you know, many of the airlines are going to lose 50% of their current workforce over 10 years. So at a company such as United, American, we have 12 to 14,000 pilots. That's 7,000 pilots gone in about a decade. Times how many airlines we out there, big demand. Same thing with mechanics. And my brother happens to be a mechanic for American Airlines. When we both went to Embry-Riddle, he did the mechanic path, I did the pilot path, and both successful in the terms of need. But even more so now, the need is even greater because it's a demand field. And folks going through school nowadays, graduating high school saying, what do I want to be and what do I want to do? It's a little tougher marketplace out there because STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, is a very highly predicted need. So we need that. A lot of other career fields there are going through some transformational process, outsourcing to other countries, automating, we know that, you know. So hands-on skills such as piloting and mechanic is still a very big demand. And so the pursuit of those are going to lead to a very rewarding career, financially as well as intrinsically, depending what kind of person you are. Now those avenues that exist to get there are many, from high end to low end, as you mentioned, you know. Depends on the financial budget, where you're from, and what you can do. The short answer is that no matter what you choose, there are ways to get there through that course. You know, you got traditional funding, you got bank loans, you have federal funding, scholarships, which are amazing. You know, AOPA, for example, every year gives out over $100,000 in scholarships at $5,000 each, which is about $20,000. 20 people get picked. That $5,000 goes towards earning a private. AOPA is a very generous foundation. That's one of many. WAI, Women in Aviation, ISA, International Society of Aviation for Women. All these group around and wrap around each year, say send us applicants. So funding by scholarship level is good because you don't pay back, no debt. Schools offer a lot of financing, different things. And of course, the military, which I pitched before, active duty, people can go to college and right out of that ROTC and go active duty, which I did. Graduated from Riddle, and I had a pretty much fully funded ride, you know, and I owed them 10 years. And then I could stay to go, and I transferred from the National Guard, the active duty to National Guard. The Guard Reserve, though, is what a great option, though, for somebody right out of high school. Imagine your son or daughter graduating high school and says, what am I going to do? Well, you can go to college, or maybe just go to join the Guard, National Guard, and find an opportunity for you on that. So those are good things. Traditional funding, military sources, scholarships, and other kind of programs. The good thing is even industry now is starting to step down lower into the pathways in high school and college, defining those pathways so that, let's say, a definitive pathway, say to Embry-Riddle or some other college, where you go to the school, you interview, you get selected into a pathway program, and then when you graduate, you flight instruct, and then you go to a regional, all the way up to the end game, which is very defined now. So that means the investment into education has a predicted path on the end. They haven't had that before, but the demand has required that. So a lot of avenues out there for making that happen.
And Bob, and we are in the technological renaissance, I guess, if you will. Information sharing, information transfer, I'm really advocating to the people that come and say, yeah, I would really like to get involved with aviation, but I can't afford it. Okay, what are you doing? You really want to get into aviation? Yeah, well, what are you doing? Well, I just said I can't afford it. No. You didn't hear me. What are you doing to get involved with aviation? And well, I don't understand the question. Okay, that's the first thing. You raise your hand if you don't understand what I'm talking about. Get involved. Go to the internet. Learn aircraft. Learn technology. Learn engineering. Learn nuts and bolts. What does this? Here's a AN7-17A bolt. What does that mean? You don't have to have somebody tell you what it means. Learn it. Research it. Resource it. Be resourceful. Get out there and go to the airport. When's the last time you've been to an airport? Well, I can't go to the airport. Why? What do you mean you can't go to the airport? You drive? So, yeah, I got a car. Go to the airport. Well, what am I going to do there? Just learn. Walk around. Talk to people. Listen. Sit down. Watch shows. Ask questions. I mean, that it just really, I guess it struck a nerve. You see that?
Yes. Yeah, sure.
It bothers me when somebody says, yeah, I want to get involved with it, but they don't want to put forth the effort.
Right.
They want to have somebody else do it for them.
Right.
How do you approach something like that, Bob?
As in most things in life, the thing is that if you do have the passion and show the effort, the world will wrap around you and give you the guidance amazingly right in front of you. You know, starting off with, I don't have the money, is a good question. But the reality is, by doing that research, and there's a lot of information out there, we'll provide you those answers. Now it's about choices. You know, option A, B, and C. You know, it's not going to be given to you on a platter, but it's going to be given to you as an opportunity. So if you do this, or apply that, or have good grades, or join the military and go to boot camp and work 2 days a month, we'll do those things and do them well, then we're gonna help you back. What are your dreams? You want to fly? Okay. Come meet us halfway with enthusiasm and passion, and we'll come the other halfway and show you the job opportunity and where it's at. I mean, it always has been that way. You know, when we become self-aware, opportunities are always in front of us, unless we get distracted. And this is a distractionary world nowadays too. A lot going on with news, media, things and that, so it's easy to get distracted from the primary objective of how do I get there, what do I want to be, and what steps I have to take. And also, sadly, sometimes in school environments, you have counseling sources and information to go, but they may not be up on aviation. So that's going back to your point where if your high school counselor says, I don't know anything about aviation, you know, go and search and find out. Forums, information. Here we are today at Center Fund. What are they doing? The GAA awards I did today, General Aviation Awards, on the left side had all these students from Central Florida Aviation Academy there watching the presentations. On the right side were the recipients, a lot of wisdom, experience, mechanics, pilots, safety folks. And here you had an opposing section of generational mix with common passion. They want to be there, they want to do it, they half of them got their privates, the other ones down the road getting recognition awards, you know. Right across from each other, the answers, you know. How do you do it? And it's here at Center Fund, at the Discovery in Aerospace, they have a lot of venues and pathways geared for that. Tomorrow, they're hosting in the same facility, Career Day for mechanics and pilots. So different airlines and organizations are coming here, present their goods, and people have a chance to interact in opportunity. So the answer is always there, and always has been. Even as you go back in time, those that go out there and say, I'm going to do it, ask the answers, find those resources, they will. And we are now such in demand for that, that it's a good heyday to go that path. Very, very, if you even have a dream or a passion of flying, like I say, go out there and start flying or start fixing. Because I started off as a mechanic too, you know, as a helicopter mechanic. And so I still do both. But those passions have to be stirred.
And we got to feed it. It's our responsibility as, I guess, we used to be the whippersnappers.
We used to be.
Now we're the old guys.
Slowing down a little?
But we need to, as I was talking to you earlier about this, it's really, you can't drive young people into this business. You've got to be able to make room and time for them when they want and show the desire to get involved with that. So we need to create the environment where it's good to pull people in.
Yeah, and also too with again that changing marketplace of what jobs are available. You know, as we're going towards, you know, a very technologically automated society where cars will be self-driven, trucks will be self-driven. A lot of things are going to be like, where's the human element? Well, the designers and programmers will be there, but that's just a smaller force. So that's always good for those that want to do that. Flying and fixing and doing is still going to be a big force because we can't automate that away yet. Not to say,
not yet.
A few hundred years,
that's right,
we have driverless airplanes, but that's so generational down that the demand field is very important because graduating from school without a clear-cut passion or track, I would not always recommend going right to college with no idea, because you're kind of wasting time and money, and if you're really not passionate, you're probably not getting those A's, so therefore you're self-defeating yourself, you know, where grade criteria matters. It's better to kind of find in the middle, what do I need to do? Take a break, the gap year they say, find that passion, what are you going to do? But make sure I have to advocate that that passion you're doing is also employable, sadly, because right now the market of employability is contracting to very defined skill sets. Again, that's why we pitch aviation, you know. We're so short on those skill sets right now because in the past 10 or 15 years with the up and down the industry, 911, bankruptcies, it looked like the aviation marketplace was in chaos, and it was. It's changed. And because of some structural things, the rebuilding of the mega airlines, American, United, Delta, stabilization in the economy and all that kind of stuff, and the demand has created this amazing opportunity. So if you were dreaming of it, it might have been tougher about 6 years ago, but now it's like embraced.
Bob, let's see. I apologize. I keep having to stuff this thing into my brain. It's falling out. But if I don't have that in there, I can't figure out what they're saying. So, but Bob, I'm going to get down in the trenches here. Okay, let's start. Are you an early riser?
Typically, yes. Started at 4 a.m. this morning.
Okay. Parents out there in TV land, or actually internet land now, streaming. How many parents, when you ask them, and they talk about the kids, and I might be hitting a nerve here, I shouldn't be going, but I'm going to go there anyway, because it's politically correct. Poor Johnny, little Johnny and little Susie, we don't like to get them up before, you know, too early. Well, what time do they normally get up? Oh, maybe 9 or 10, 10:30. We get them up by noon, though. Oh, good for you, you know? You know how much of the day is gone by the noon hour? And if we could just get parents and get kids, get up at the crack of dawn, get busy, get doing something, go somewhere. I think we really are missing the boat by allowing our kids to drive their schedule when we didn't grow up that way, and now we're the old timers. But are we have to go through a generation of lazy people? I don't know, Bob. It's frustrating, but why don't we get things started up early in the morning? Poor old Obie, we have a 7:30 meeting. People are late. They never show up for the 7:30 meeting. Things start early. I mean,
well, and to that point, the world operates on a certain rhythm and schedule. If you're going to go into aviation, I'm an airline pilot, right? And you're a passenger. You would not want me to be 30 minutes late to the airplane, right? So scheduling and the ability to schedule efficiency, get things done in a certain amount of time, and organizing that in itself is a skill set, you know. So, and one of the predictors of success in life is the ability to organize, schedule, and doing your time. It doesn't matter how you do it, whether you start backside, front side. Is the key that if you plan it out, very key to success is make sure you schedule. Like if you're working towards an airline career pathway, then you lay out the pathway and you give yourself goals and deadlines and guidelines, and you start working towards those, because everybody knows it's a very distractionary world. It is, you know. I mean, from social media distractions to news distractions, everybody's just trying to take this and take your time away, and you have to fight back. So for parents, of course, you know, what helps, of course, is if their children, son or daughter, are self-motivated. Means that you don't even have to do anything. They're out and running. Not everybody, I wasn't that, you know. I mean, not everybody's always self-motivated, but sometimes guidance and scheduling and a little organizing helps, especially if you want something, so that you can plan it and make it so. So I think that's a kind of a key point, because of the nature of society today, in a bit of the, you know, time is not so much needed. There's no I don't have to get a job. I don't have to go to school. I don't have to do any of these things. I guess the enabling environment to a degree, because we live comfortably mostly, but not everybody. So that hunger and passion has to come from a source.
Yeah.
You know? So
I think that's where we have been missing kind of the boat. Is we've been making assumptions that kids were motivated to get out and do things that we enjoyed because we did. It's different now, and I really, it's frustrating.
It's frustrating, especially if you don't have the key goal in mind. You know, that's why, again, there's a decent amount of majority that leave high school going to college still undefined.
Yeah, don't know.
You know,
what are you going to do when you grow up?
And if you're undefined, what effort you're going to put into, like, you know, college is fun, you know, but it's not fun to study for the calculus, math, and all the things there. So you get very distracted quickly in an environment of school, like college, without the key goal, or I got to get this is what I'm looking for. So that's kind of a key step to self-analyze there, what you're going to be, and then when do I want to do this? Do I want to do it right away? Again, that whole gap year. People sometimes take a year off and do things. That's highly encouraged.
Yeah.
And other cultures and societies, you know, like American, we tend to have like a path that we say, either get out of high school, get a job, or get out of high school, go to college. In other societies, it's like, get out of high school and wait, not necessarily go to college, maybe learn a trade, get a skill, give yourself some time to do something, see what you're good at, and then move on to pet, so that's not time and money wasted in their program. So, you know, this goes with aviation or anything. The key is to kind of discover, are you ready yet? And if not, then work. You know,
and working is the part of it that, Bob, I've got to admit, in aviation, I haven't worked a day in my life.
Well, intrinsic to aviation, work and fun are kind of
it's a hobby that I'm fortunate enough to have been getting a paycheck out of. But now I work hard for the paycheck, but it's fun doing it. And I think that's the real secret behind what we need to do, is create the environment. And I was just talking to Lights a little earlier today. They have done a great job of establishing a place that's kind of neat. The school over there. Have you walked over there lately?
Yeah, Central Florida Aviation Academy is one of the aviation-oriented theme schools. It's amazing, right? Because it's a common core passion built around aviation. Folks are going there for a big reason, whether it's engineering, mechanic, flying. So there's a commonality, which is great. And throughout the country, there's several. Now we're talking the aviation programs.
Denver, and I think another one's starting up. Where's the other one? There's Denver,
Seattle, Raisbeck School.
Raisbeck.
We got the Western Michigan Aviation Academy up there. That's 3 that I know. There's many more because we, United and other industry, have gone and visited all these. I personally visited all the aviation high schools as part of a project 5 years ago. When 5 years ago we started looking at the need and demand for pilots. So I went to all the high schools and colleges, aviation oriented, and see what the pathways were. And these aviation-themed magnet schools stood out because, you know, there's your pathway right there. Now, right now, one of the initiatives, because we don't have aviation dedicated high schools in all the states, right? But we have a lot of high schools. So AOPA has come up in the past couple of years and worked on the Aviation High School STEM Initiative, developing a 2-year program, like a curriculum that's embedded into your high school that's STEM oriented. It has UAS, which is unmanned aerospace vehicles systems, engineering, aviation. So, and AOPA's team with some industry leaders, big money investments, and the last meeting we had in Dallas, we're up to over like maybe 30 to 50 high schools on board using the program, because you're earning credit, you're getting exposure, so you get your high school credit, exposure to your pathway early on, which is a great initiative, so that when you go to college, you already have, you know, some things behind you aviation oriented. So AOPA's initiative is very STEM oriented, but a great success. So that's coming more and more so. I mean, and AOPA is being hosted by like American, United, UPS this year, to keep enhancing these programs. So that's just a good positive push and investment to this particular career field.
Well, Bob, switching just a little bit of a gear to the GA Awards program. Most people don't understand what the GA Awards program is. Can you give me just a short dissertation on what is the GA Awards program?
So yeah, general aviation, right, awards. So every year we recognize starts off locally would be the FSDO officers. Now they're divided in regions, like Eastern region, Western, Southern. There's like the regions of the country. So bottom line is that they're recognizing three main characters, which is the certified flight instructor, who is the backbone of the aviation, creating new pilots. The safety guy, which is the FAST team, which is the aviation safety. He's promoting safety seminars, promoting, could be a pilot, could be anything, mechanic, but he's promoting safety in aviation.
Fast team rep.
Fast team rep. Yeah. And then, of course, the AMT, aviation maintenance technician. Those are big three categories. Like today we gave out of the year, well, actually of the region awards, you know, Eastern region awards for those. And so those, what happens is every year everybody submits their nominations. It's met by a board from the General Aviation Organization that sifts it out, says here's the winners. The FAA is involved in the presentations and the encouragement of the process, and then industry promotes the money behind the locations, the plaques, and things like that. So people out there know of any worthy pilots, mechanics, AMTs, nominate, or get on board with that.
Wow. And Bob, it's so important to recognize the folks that are out there putting forth this extra effort.
Everybody's
because
involved.
It takes effort.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you're doing extraordinary things, you should be extraordinarily recognized.
Absolutely.
And some people, they're not into recognition. That's okay. Well, we are. We do want to recognize you, and I admire the soft. You're a soft guy. You don't get near the recognition you deserve for all the effort that you put forth in this industry. I want to thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Bob Raskey is always one of my. He's a hero, one of my heroes in the industry. But we're going to wrap it up now, Bob, and let you get off to. I think you're going to go to New York later on
today. Go to New York this afternoon, commuting up, and then stay the evening, and then off to South America tomorrow.
You're flying 7.5 these days?
7.3.
7.3.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
800, 900.
All the 789.
Which is your favorite?
Actually, I like the 700. They're lower, lighter model. We take those down to South America because they're just agile.
Okay, I like it. I know a lot of airline guys, and the 7.3s are.
It's a great hands-on airplane.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, pleasure.
Okay, this is going to wrap it up for another interview session, and we're not going to go out in the field right now, but well, there again we might. You never know. This is live. We're streaming to you from the Florida Aviation Museum, Florida Air Museum, at the Sun and Fun 44th Annual International Flying Conference. See you.